Greetings and welcome to Abiotic Factor, a survival craft game by Deepfield Entertainment, released on May 2nd. Now, the premise of this game is that you are a scientist, a member of a research team in an underground facility dealing with portals, as you can tell by the splash screen on right now. And it is quite entertaining and quite well done. It has a lot of similarities to Grounded in the gameplay and story progression, and a lot of complexity to it like Project Zomboid has. So I wanted to give this game a little bit of a shout out. It's still in early access, and I just wanted to get it out there for those who might be interested in it. I happened to stumble across it in my YouTube feed while I was waiting for a truck to be loaded at work. But I've been working nights this past month, and when I first get home, I can't afford to go to bed immediately because there is the chance of overtime. And trying to slog through my current Stellaris playthrough can make me sleepy very quickly. So I needed something else to keep my mind occupied, to make sure that I could establish a sleep schedule that would not be a problem if we happen to work overtime. I don't want to fall asleep on the commute from work because it's gotten a little longer right now. But this game's pretty entertaining, and I figured I'd share a little bit of gameplay with you and the tutorial, and possibly give some tips to those of you who are interested in the game. So I believe I have enough gameplay experience to understand enough of the basic mechanics to give a decent opinion of the way that this game is designed, and so far I'm enjoying it. It does have a few issues I have with it, but no game doesn't. I haven't found a single game that doesn't have at least one thing that bugs me. But I think this game is fairly well designed. I think Deepfield Entertainment has been doing a good job with it. Now, they are a New Zealand-based company, I believe, but the game itself is set in Australia. One of the complaints I have is I don't seem to be able to actually give myself a beard. Even though the option for beard is there, I have been unable to select it. But you do have a little bit of customization for your character. Now, I have done some gameplay, but the game itself is fairly large, and I haven't really left the first area, and there is a lot more to the game than what I have played. But let's jump into the introduction here to cover some of the basic mechanics. Now, the introduction is basically a tutorial instance. Nothing you do there will affect your character that you actually play the game with. So, items you collect, experience you earn, none of that really matters in the tutorial. The tutorial is basically to establish the story and to give you an understanding of the basic mechanics. Premise here is that we are transferring to the Gate Cascade Research Facility. We worked at a facility called Springer prior to this.
Almost there.
Kangaroo Crossing.
So, ready for your first day?
I could use a little bit more background before. Yeah, but yeah, sure. So yeah, the landscape isn't too awfully bad. The character model's not horrible.
There she is.
And there's the facility we're headed towards.
we are. Time to get out. Out you hop. Well, here we are.
Not a lot of exposition from him. He was just the person giving me a ride. So we're out in the middle of nowhere, Australia. You can jump over small obstacles. Now, as you can see, my microphone lights up every time I speak. There's actually in-game proximity voice chat. And your character's mouth will move while you speak, which is really humorous to see when you're on your inventory screen. So the door's locked. Such a flat and unemotional stare.
Okay, you're the transfer, huh? You sure picked a day. Things a bit hectic downstairs this morning. Just grab your gate pal there. It'll help you get sorted. When you've got your gate pal, I'll let you downstairs. Should work like your PDA at Springer, more or less. You're going from Springer. Things are a bit different over here. You'll see. Bit of a kerfuffle downstairs this morning. You probably want to get a move on.
So they have several lines of dialogue for most NPCs, and then they'll repeat. Open your journal to view current objective and notes. So we're in the Gate Cascade Restricted Zone. My Gate Pal stores useful data and communications. Assuming it works like the ones at the Springer facility, it'll be locked to my security clearance, so it only provides data for sectors I've got access to. So as I access more sectors, more information will appear here. This is to access your Gate Compendium, which will cover soup recipes, emails, entities you've encountered, locations, people, and theories. You also have access to your inventory here, and as you can see, yeah, that my character's mouth is just going to town while I'm talking, and that just cracks me up. Now you do get a pager to reveal your location to other scientists. This only has use in cooperative play. You have several status that you need to maintain. Your tiredness, your biological functions, and your hunger and thirst, as well as health and temperature. Although I haven't, these four, if you ignore, you can die from them. So if you get so tired that your bar runs completely out, you will die. If you don't go to the bathroom by the time you need to, you will die. If you don't drink, you will die. If you don't eat, you will die. But temperature doesn't seem to be as dangerous. Being freezing cold or burning up, I think all it does is make your other status decline faster. You also have your crafting recipes, your journal, of course, and your stats. Now, I'll quickly go over some of the skills. The skills work a lot like in Project Zomboid. You earn experience for a skill by performing that skill. So, sprinting, you gain experience in it by sprinting over long distances. Each level increases your total stamina by a small amount. When you reach certain milestones, you unlock perks. For sprinting, you get athletic at level 5, a chance to not lose stamina for an action that would normally use stamina. At level 10, along with your passive gains, you sprint 5% faster. Strength, each level increases your total carrying capacity and eventually unlocks proper access to heavy weapons. XP is primarily gained by traveling with a heavy inventory. If we look over at my inventory, when you reach 75% capacity, you will start to gain strength experience as you walk around. If you exceed your max capacity, you will cease to gain strength experience while you move around. So if I carried 61 weight right now, I would not gain any strength experience. I have to keep it between 75, which would be 45 weight, and 60 to gain any strength experience. At level 5, you get the ability to shake vending machines and stomp carbuncles in one hit. At strength 8, you can properly wield heavy melee weapons. Throwing in each level increases how far you can throw objects of all kind. You gain experience by throwing weapons, grenades, devices, miscellaneous objects. At level 2, you get the ability to do an underhanded toss. At level 5, you get a predicted path for your throwing items. And at level 8, weapons thrown by you are highlighted for 30 seconds. So if they miss, you can see where they are to pick them back up. And at level 12, when you craft throwables, you get an additional one. Sneaking, each level increases how long it takes enemies to detect your presence. XP is primarily gained by sneaking around dangerous active enemies. At level 2, you have a 25% chance to deal double damage with your first attack while stealthed. At level 5, you move faster when crouching and can perform a roll by sprinting while crouched. At level 8, you will no longer trigger tripwires, trip lasers, or carbuncles even when not crouching. And at level 10, your footsteps are much quieter, and you have a 50% increased sneak attack at night. Combat skills, we have blunt melee. Each level increases your damage with blunt weapons. XP is gained by bashing enemies with blunt weapons. At level 3, you gain a power attack. You can do a heavy wind-up, but these attacks cannot be performed with a shield. Any functionality for a skill or a tool that requires right-clicking cannot be used while you have a shield equipped, because right-clicking simply blocks with your shield. At level 12, your power attack uses half the stamina. Sharp melee increases your damage with sharp weapons. At level 3, you can throw them. At level 5, you have a higher chance to not end up with bio scrap when you cut up bodies. At level 9, enemies killed by your sharp melee attacks will outright die when they otherwise might have gone to dying but not out. Some enemies will just be crawling on the ground, and you will see the option to finish them because you haven't quite killed them. You've just knocked them out, basically, but not out of the fight, but not unconscious. Slice and dice at level 12, you have a higher chance to cause severe bleeding. Accuracy. Each level increases your overall accuracy, reduces recoil, and ranged weapon sway. XP is gained by firing ranged weapons. Now, starting out, the sway is pretty bad, so you don't have a very good range with ranged weapons. At level 5, you gain the option to zoom your vision when aiming with a ranged weapon. By default, I think until you get to level 5, you cannot simply aim down the sights of a gun like you could in most shooters. You have to earn the accuracy to do that. At level 8, your projectiles have a lower chance to break on impact. And at level 10, you can handle more advanced firearms and learn the biometric arm wraps recipe. Reloading. Each level increases your reload speed by a decent percentage and will eventually reduce how clumsy you are at reloading in general. You gain this by reloading weapons. And there are different breakpoints for animation changes for the reloading skill. At level 5 of reloading, you craft ammo twice as fast. At level 8, you can reload weapons you otherwise aren't qualified to use. And at level 10, you are less clumsy at reloading all weapons. Fortitude increases your overall health points, particularly that of your head, as well as reducing the damage you take. XP is primarily gained by taking damage from enemies, unfortunately. At level 5, you regenerate health a bit more frequently. At level 8, when you are resting within 8 meters of other resting scientists, it doubles the resting rate. And at level 10, you have slightly reduced fall damage and take less damage from environmental physics, such as vehicles. And then under crafting, we have crafting, which increases your crafting speed and gives you access to bench upgrades. XP is gained by crafting and repairing items. At level 2, you access the first set of crafting bench upgrades. At level 5, you get the second tier of crafting bench upgrades. At level 8, when you share recipes with others, they don't have to complete the research phase, they just automatically get the final recipe. And at level 10, items with durability you create have extra durability. Construction increases how fast you construct with screwdrivers and how likely you are to keep furniture intact when you package it. XP is primarily gained by constructing and deconstructing furniture. At level 5, you package small deployables twice as fast, and at level 10, when you dismantle furniture with a hammer, you have a 50% chance to receive double the resources. Now, that's a right-click functionality of a hammer, so if you have a shield out, you cannot perform deconstruct furniture with hammer. You have to put your shield up first. First aid increases how much extra health is regained when using medical items. XP is primarily gained by using and crafting medical items. At level 3, when you heal a teammate, they also gain a little hydration. It does not occur on self-heals. At level 4, you learn the recipe for a rad-removing syringe, the pentetic acid syringe. At level 5, you can see all negative medical debuffs when up close to another player. At level 8, all splints applied by you heal bones faster. And at level 11, when you revive teammates, they get a short healing buff. And if you revive them with a healing item, the healing is increased 20%. Cooking, every 5 levels increases your total competence in cooking. Ranking up gives you new recipes. XP is gained by cooking, baking, and making soups. At rank 3, you gain access to soup recipes. At level 5, you can see other players' hunger and thirst when you are near them. At level 8, all cooking-related recipes take half the time to make. And at level 10, you regain extra health anytime your health regenerates. And you also learn the recipe for the oven and raw dough. Now, at level 5, instead of simply saying cooked food, your stuff will say carefully cooked. And at level 10, most of the things you cook will be hearty. Agriculture increases how fast plants planted by you regrow once they're harvested, and XP is gained by planting, tending to, and harvesting plants. At level 4, you earn a fertilizer recipe, anomalous compost. At level 5, you get an extra harvest from wild plants when you harvest them. And at level 9, you gain a tier 2 fertilizer recipe for the anomalous fertilizer. Now, he does have one extra line after you've grabbed your gate pal.
Sorted? Okay. Most of what you need should be in your gate, pal. Well, eventually. But you're good to go. Head down to the elevator. It'll take you down to induction, and they'll take care of you.
Actually, make that 2 lines.
You're all good. Head downstairs to the left. Bit of a kerfuffle downstairs this morning. You probably want to get a move on. Did you see the Island game last week? Suppose you eggheads aren't into footy so much, eh? You're all good. Head downstairs to the left.
When you encounter radiation, you will see small speckles or dots in your vision, increasing in intensity with the radiation strength. A little won't hurt, but long-term exposure will harm you without protection. Now, it looks kind of like static on my screen if you can make it out. I guess looking this direction actually shows it up the best toward the middle of the view. If you ever see that, you're near something that is causing radiation. And as you distance yourself from it, it will fade. Grab and equip a hard hat.
Morning. Lift's down there. But first, you need a hard hat. Health and safety and stuff. Grab that one and chuck it on. Just chuck it on your head and I'll let you through.
Alright, so we can equip straight from here, but it wants us to pick it up. And when you pick up an item, you can unlock recipes based on either the item itself or what it can be scrapped into. This hard hat can be scrapped at a repair bench for plastic, so I unlocked a recipe based on plastic. This is a durable helmet to protect the workers, and when worn, you gain more construction XP.
So, you've got what you need. Head through the gate to my left, down to the elevator. It'll take you down to induction.
Now we begin our descent.
Welcome to the Gate Cascade Research Facility. You are in the induction wing. The facility is currently at alert level precautionary. Please listen carefully to and follow all security instructions. Now arriving at staff processing.
I suppose you saw quite a few sights on the way down. The security robot that was stationary, where that guy was looking into the vending machines, and that giant creature that was being escorted by 4 armed guards. Hold and open the emote wheel to wave or page at the guard.
Hey, new transfer. I got pulled in from surface duty. The usual lady, she got called out to help downstairs. Happens. Chaos is kind of our thing around here. You seem a bit antsy. Just wait. I'll unlock the gate in a second. Now, I've never run someone through this, but it looks pretty straightforward. Coming from the Springer facility, you'll know the basics, but since we deal with specimens directly, everyone on staff has to know basic ECP. That's Emergency Containment Procedures. Okay, now I have some instructions here that aren't really compatible with the current security situation around here, so we're just gonna improvise a bit. Bear with me. I'm gonna have you crawl through that vent down there. Consider it like chasing down an escaped specimen. You got a big brain, you got a big imagination, right?
So we need to get to that vent. Cannot open the door from this side. Now, if you get that message, that means you can eventually get to the other side of this and open it. But if you get the message, this door won't budge, it means that you'll never open that. Even if you can access the area on the other side, this will never be a passage you can go through. And of course, traversing ladders, when walking forward, depends on which way you're facing. Because I'm walking forward and looking down, so I'm not climbing the ladder. But if I walk forward and look up, I will climb the ladder. But still going forward, I will go down it if I look down. Many objects can be dismantled for resources, either broken with a proper weapon or taken apart by holding F. Vents can be destroyed or dismantled. So I can either attack this or simply dismantle it. But first, let's grab a flashlight. And you can crouch to sneak in the duct. Now that broke down into metal scrap. Now, anything with these red markers on it is not going to be something I can dismantle. Even though this vent looks a lot like the other one, this is not one I can go through. It's just considered a wall, basically. So we have a toolbox here, and there are 2 pipe wrenches in it. I only need 1, because like I said, inventory I collect here doesn't really matter. Now these little deployables, you don't need a screwdriver to package or build, because I can basically turn it into that, gaining some construction XP, and then put it back down wherever I wanted it. Whenever you deconstruct an item, its inventory will be thrown into a loot spill bag. Let's put this other pipe wrench back up.
If there's something in your way, because I put it there, there should be a tool down there. Something you can smash the crate with. You might have to look around a bit. And don't worry about smashing stuff. Like we got a lot of crates. A lot of crates.
So this is another type of vent I cannot break. You see the red on it, but you can use it as a window and see through it. And about these crates, you'll see a lot of these around the facility. It's a good way to collect resources usually. This one in particular has some cloth scrap that has unlocked a few recipes for me. And I could basically smash all of these and get more resources, but it's pointless here.
Oh, what the hell? This damn radio's acting up. There we go. Ugh, all morning. Alright, where were we? They want you to capture a creature. The lady who's supposed to do this, she took all the nets downstairs with her. Look around, maybe you can make one out of something.
As a scientist, you find inspiration all around you. Gain new crafting recipes and ideas by picking up resources, interacting with items, and packaging furniture, and the occasional email. Bring up your crafting and research menu. Some recipes are craftable right away, but ideas must first be invented. You've learned the recipe for throw nets, now craft some. So these are the basic recipes that I have unlocked. I unlocked the water bottle from picking up plastic, and I unlocked the bandage and throw net from picking up cloth scrap, and I started with this idea for an energy break. This is their research mini games. They will give you ideas. This is one system I have a little bit of issues with, because it's basically about as meaningful to the game as achievements. In other words, you see there are 3 tech materials and 1 plastic material. Now the order I put the tech materials in won't matter. I could put it in different orders, it really doesn't matter. As long as they're in the correct colored slots is all that matters. And if I fail, it'll just mark off what isn't supposed to be there and let me keep trying again until I successfully unlock the recipe. Some later recipes, they may only show the 4 items I need, which overall, this becomes just an extra time sink and an extra step to get to a recipe with no real reward or benefit. It doesn't matter if you get it right on the first try or not. It's just an extra step to be able to access the recipe. So the only real value in it is that sense of self-satisfaction you get from figuring out the puzzle on your own. Now, I may end up spoiling some of these puzzles if you like to do them yourself, because this one, for example, I'm going to walk through. So you can get an idea based on the material you picked up, for example, or the image you can faintly see there. Now this is going to be an energy brick, so it's going to need power. I'm pretty sure about that. It'll have a power supply. And then that leaves 3 possible tech materials. Generic tech scrap, a circuit board, and a keyboard. Well, it doesn't look like it has a keyboard interface. So we'll ignore the keyboard and put the other 2 here. Now for plastic, we can either just do plastic scrap to make the housing, or include a case fan. Well, most power supplies tend to get pretty hot. So let's go with the case fan. And then we can click on this when we're ready to proceed. And we got it right, so we unlock the recipe, and now we have access to be able to make it. So it was just one additional step before I got the recipe. I didn't really earn anything for doing it, no XP. It doesn't affect your achievements, so it's just an extra time sink. Now, about these recipes, you can pin recipes to your HUD. I think this one will default start out pinned now that I've completed it. And you can share recipes in co-op with nearby players. Recipes tend to be color-coded by what you can make now and what you are lacking something for, such as a powered crafting bench to make energy bricks. All of these, even though I don't have the materials, can be made without a crafting bench. But he wanted me to make some throwing nets.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking I'd grab like a plastic bag for... You know what? This is why we do the jobs we do here at Gate. Go ahead and throw your fantastic net on the dummy. Nice! You've got some athleticism in there. Somewhere. Now, real creatures might wriggle out of that one, but that's not a real creature. So, next step is special containment... Isolation, wash hands, inoculate. You know what? Just stomp on it. Oh, brutal. Okay, so next up... what's going on with your leg there? Looks to me like you're bleeding. Look, we'll call this training. Basic first aid. Find some cloth and make a bandage. And just keep this between us for now. I'll buy you a beer in residence later. Sorry about that.
Now, I already know the recipe for bandage. Now, there are several ways you can heal yourself with items. I could simply hotkey it and hit the button to heal myself or heal others. From my inventory, I could right-click on it and hit consume that would heal, or you can go to your health tab and click to use the item from here. Now, I'm currently bleeding from a wound. The longer this progresses, the lower my health will get.
Okay, you did that way cleaner than I would have. You would, wouldn't you? You're gonna fit right in down there. Looks like you can walk on it all right. Let's head you on through to the next room. Feel free to mosey. I've gotta check some stuff out. We got some weird crap going on today, not gonna lie to you.
Okay. Now, as far as medical supplies go, much like in Project Zomboid, bandages and splints are only really useful when you get careless. You're going to get more use out of anti-radiation medication, and later in the game there are other forms of ailments, but in the starting area, until you get a handle on combat, you may need bandages, and until you get a handle on wandering around and making sure you don't miss jumps, you will probably need a few splints. Now, that sound you just heard is the sound of a computer you can interact with that has email. And it'll repeat again shortly. But if you hear that noise, that means that there's a nearby computer with an email that you could read. Investigation. Jane, what is this I'm hearing about an investigation into our security? Has anyone spoken to you about it? Relax, Richard. It It doesn't concern anyone in your sector. It's the labs team. You know how they are, always scared someone's leaking information. Mance suggested the executive committee thinks someone may be monitoring our data network. I thought that was impossible. The farm needs to know about this. We're the ones who work with the data day in and day out. Look, Mance is great at theorizing, but sometimes he lets his imagination run away with the facts. It's all speculation at this point. We haven't detected anything beyond a few probing actions. Our data is secure. Let them know it's under control, because it is. Fungus. Hey, you asked me to get in touch if we found any applications for new materials. You remember that fungus Lenora's team brought back? We did some tests. This stuff makes penicillin look like tap water. I reviewed the report. You're cleared for phase 2. Someone needs to go back in there. We need more samples. The Silo 2 systems are online. I think another venture should be fine. I'll talk to TR. They're itching to get back in there. Now, that unlocked a few journal entries, I think, or at least one. Who's watching? Sounds like someone in the research division is conducting an investigation into security at Cascade. And we will have access to those emails now. We could review them again at our leisure. And these devices are audio recordings.
Dr. Derek Mance reporting, Research Director, Gate Cascade Research Facility. After yesterday's fiasco, I've made a formal request to extend general anomaly storage immediately. We've requisitioned Ordo 113, only to discover that some effect from 221 had turned it permanently blue. I've made it clear to Henderson. This is not acceptable. Ordo subjects may be deemed low risk, but the range of phenomena is too diverse to jam them together like sardines.
Now, you don't have to remain near someone who is speaking with you or an audio recording. If you, as you saw, if you venture far enough away, it will basically become over your headset or your gate pal. Containment protocols. Gate operates several tiers of containment protocols. The lowest is Ordo, indicating an item, artifact, or entity is deemed benign or low risk and requires only basic precautions. There are several tiers above this, but I'll need a higher security clearance than Blue to learn about them. Now, there are vending machines with snacks or drinks scattered throughout the facility. They do require money, and you start with $5. There are also water coolers around that you can drink from. And there is no risk of destroying these when you attempt to package them. However, this tutorial instance is slightly different. When I try to package this, it's going to turn into plastic. But the ones in the actual facility, there is no risk of losing them by packaging them. You can package them up and relocate them where you want them, and don't have to worry about them breaking apart like that just did.
So, I'm betting they didn't have these at Springer. It says here, all gate staff at Cascade need to understand the facility's unique power system. It goes into a lot of detail only an egghead would want. No offense. Every power socket here comes with its own little extension cable, and we build everything purpose-built for those sockets. So what you're gonna do, you need to package the heater, place it back down near the power socket, and then... Okay, now I know that was a lot. I'm getting some weird interference on my radio. I'm gonna leave you to the whiteboard down there. You might need a screwdriver. I'll get back to you in a minute. Station 3, what's going on? Over. Station 3, Station 2. I'm getting a lot of chatter. Keystone running some kind of shady op again. I didn't see a bulletin. I'm trying to finish up some work here. Okay, just let me know if it's any GKers coming my way. They creep me the hell out. Over.
Grab a screwdriver, package the heater, deploy the heater near the power socket, build the heater, grab a power cable from the power socket, and plug it in. Let's grab the screwdriver. Now that we have a screwdriver, let's drop this real quick. Requires a screwdriver to package. Now that I have one, I can package this. And when you are looking to redeploy an item that requires power, you can see a silhouette of the range of the power cord from the nearest power source, where I can place it where it can be powered. So we'll place it right here. And then we have to use the screwdriver to construct it. And now I just connect the power socket.
Hey, nice work plugging in that plug. We're done here. There's some stuff on this list, but I don't reckon you're gonna need it. That's why you've got people like me around. Keep you safe. Looks like I gotta check on some situation topside. So, yeah, head to the elevator. It'll take you down to residences. Real cozy stuff. Clipboard here says you're looking for a Dr. Khan? It sounds familiar. I guess he's in charge of the rest of your orientation. Alright, onward to science. Well, for one of us anyway.
So there are a few hints I picked up through the course of this tutorial that will help you a little, if you pay attention to them, will help you understand some of the events that happen a little later. And I will reference them when those events happen.
Attention. This is a high priority safety broadcast. You are currently en route to Residence Level 7. Due to an active security situation, advanced safety precautions are in effect. This elevator will be redirected to Offices Level 1. Please remain in place and wait for security team assistance.
And as we fade out, that's the end of the tutorial, or introduction. Now let's talk a little bit about the actual things. First, I want to go into load game and show you that you are not locked into single player or multiplayer for a particular game. You can toggle this anytime you choose to reload it. But I'm going to delete this save. I have basically been starting over quite a lot, just understanding the basic flow of the game. And this is not my first attempt to record an episode. I had a few issues with the videos. The main one being, and hopefully I've got it fixed this time, is that it was not displaying the in-game cursor. By default, it's in a borderless window mode, and it was showing my desktop cursor, which did not match the position of what I was pointing at with this cursor. So we're going to see if I fixed that or not. But I switched to full screen and changed the resolution to match my desktop, so hopefully it is in the correct position for the cursor now. Now we'll start a new game and just name this world the Domine Corporation. And we'll talk a little bit about the sandbox settings. Now, you can modify the settings, and this will not affect your ability to earn achievements at all. They have the option to activate simple loot respawning, where resources will spontaneously respawn around the facility, but not furniture. They say this is a good setting for public servers. I disagree. If you proceed through the story well enough, every resource I've encountered is renewable. So there is no need to have loot respawn. It kind of trivializes one of the struggles for resources, but I have never run into a problem where I can't get a resource anymore. Because this game is based on gates. Gate research, which they call the instances they create perforations. And these little perforation instances, every few days, around 1 in the morning, you'll hear a message, all vacant perforations will reset. What that means is every piece of furniture, every item, everything that was in it, it basically comes back. So if you find a perforation, if say you need computers and you've gotten rid of all the computers in the office, you can find perforations that have computers in them. So you could farm that perforation for computers, and in a few days it will respawn and you can go back in there and get more computer parts. So there is no real need to activate this. Power sockets turning off at night is a default setting, and it is one of the challenges you are supposed to overcome in the game. Deactivating this makes things like batteries useless. You can adjust the day-night cycle speed, and there are times I have been tempted to slow down the speed because, much like in Minecraft, it feels like the day goes by too quickly. It's already night. There's not much I can do at night, so I just want to sleep through to the next day. I think the day cycle probably lasts around 8 to 10 minutes, similar to Minecraft. The sink refill rate. Sinks will passively refill over time, allowing you to have a renewable source of water. However, much like in tree growth in Minecraft, it only happens when they are in the particular area you are. In other words, if you empty the sinks in the starting area and spend all of your time away from the starting area, it is unlikely that the starting area sinks will ever refill. It's the sinks nearest you that seem to refill. Other than that, you can modify friendly fire damage. You can modify your hunger, thirst, fatigue, and continence. XP gain, weight, and stack sizes for items and durability. Whether you lose durability loss when you respawn, what items you keep when you die. By default, you'll drop everything in your pockets, but will keep your equipped items and your hotbar. And the one I would really recommend if you have limited time, since the idea system is really just an extra step for recipes. If that doesn't really appeal to you, feel free to disable the minigames for researching, and you will simply go straight to the recipe. If you feel that added time sink with no real benefit is pointless, feel free to shut that off. I'm going to leave it on. As much as I think the system is pointless time sink right now, I will go through it. So let's start this game. In Abiotic Factor, your character is saved on a per-world basis. This means your character's traits, skills, items, equipment, and progress are tied to a given server. Visual customization is stored locally and carried between servers. You need to select a job and starting traits for your character with each new world, which you will do now. So you cannot import a character to a friend's game, or your friends can't import characters into your game. Every character for a server is created for that server. Now, this game does really seem to shine with multiplayer. Your science skills will grow over time, but your chosen profession gives you an immediate skill advantage. Ask yourself, what kind of scientist are you? So this is where it really helps with multiplayer, because different players on a server can choose different jobs. Now, while you can eventually reach max skill level with every skill just by using that skill, starting with several levels of skill makes it that much quicker for you to reach particular perks. And the current jobs are lab assistant, You're fresh, you're green, and probably in way over your head. But what you lack in skill, you make up for in sheer ambition, speed, and staying out of everyone's crosshairs. Suggested role is stealth. You'll start with sprinting, sneaking, strength, and 10 points for traits. Epimedical bionomicist. Research on live subjects has taught you everything about the human body, especially injuries, harm, and ailments. Your medical abilities are considerably more advanced than your colleagues. Suggested role is medic. You start with 3 in first aid, 1 in cooking, 1 in agriculture, and 9 points for traits. Transkinematic researcher. For someone with 2 PhDs, you're surprisingly robust. You're quick and kinetically resilient, decently fit, and can take a few knocks. Your autonomic system is under control. Suggested role, defensive combat. You start with 2 in blunt, fortitude, sprinting, and strength, and 8 points for traits. Archotechnic consultant. It wasn't your looks or sparkling conversation that got you here. It was your impressive facility with fabrication and tooling. Suggested role is builder. 2 in construction, 1 strength, 3 crafting, 7 trait points. Phytogenetic botanist. You chose the lab over the farm, but never lost your touch with plants. You know biosciences, genetics, and how things grow. Even Gates' most exotic specimens. Suggested role, gardener. 3 agriculture, 2 cooking, 2 strength. 9 starting points. Somatic gastrologist. A deep understanding of nutrition, physiology, and biochemistry means you know how to look after yourself. There's no question you get out what you put in. Suggested role, chef. 2 in sharp melee, 1 fortitude, 4 cooking, 9 starting points. Paratheoretical physicist. Your knowledge may be theoretical, but you know everything about how objects move through space, and spend a lot of time planning new gadgets and inventions. Suggested role, throwing and utility. 3 throwing, 3 crafting, 1 sneaking, 1 reloading, 1 construction. 8 starting points. Defense analyst. You're one of the brightest officers on the defense team, and could have been a scientist yourself. There's a small rift between you and your egghead colleagues, but they respect your strategy. Suggested role, offensive combat. 2 fortitude, 2 strength, 1 blunt melee, 2 reloading, 2 accuracy. Only 5 starting points. Now, apart from the skills, one of the reasons I believe this has the lowest starting points, I had seen a playthrough with Cartoons and Delirious chose this. He started with a security hat, security vest, and a baton. And these were indeed armor pieces. And the baton was a fairly decent weapon. So he actually did start with gear. Some of these others may start with some gear as well. I have really only played around with the Archotechnic Consultant because that fits me. I like building things. Summer intern. You haven't quite earned your PhD yet, and judging by the state of things, you're not going to anytime soon. Suggested role, blank slate. This job does not give any extra skill points, but it has the highest starting points at 12. Now, I am going to go with Archotechnic Consultant again. And as for traits, you have positive traits that cost your points and negative traits that will give you points back, much like Project Zomboid. And we're going to pick wrinkly brain meat. You have more pliable neurological pathways. You gain 20% more XP than normal, because I do consider myself a fast learner. We're going with hobbyist chef. You have a love of cooking, and you gain cooking skill twice as fast, because I am a cook. As a matter of fact, I was a prep chef for a restaurant for quite a while. And I also am certified in first aid, so I will take first aid certification. You took the gate provided first aid certification course. You start with 5 bandages and 3 first aid. Now that puts us over our limit, so I need to take a negative trait. Well, I am a smoker, so we'll take asthmatic. You lose stamina 40% faster than others. So we'll jump in here now. You'll learn skills as you progress, but your job and traits cannot be changed once you start. Have you finished selecting your job and traits? Yes, I'm ready. Now, if we go into settings here and go into gameplay, I have used 24-hour time. But if I bring up my watch, you will notice it says AM. 24-hour time does not use AM PM. The reason this is still showing AM is because right now, time will not progress until I proceed to a certain point in the starting quest. This is just an extension of the tutorial right now. Time is frozen. Now my needs are not frozen. They will still slowly decline. But because I'm currently well fed and hydrated, I am considered copacetic. You're well fed, hydrated, and in your element. You lose 10% less stamina and you heal faster. Now let's move the bandages. A basic bandage that will stop one instance of bleeding does not restore health. And that is the only equipment I have starting out because of the particular perk I chose. And if we check our current recipes, I know how to make a bandage because I picked one up. Just some rags, but it'll do. And I have the ideas for the crafting bench and the energy brick. Well, we already know the energy brick, but I'll show you what would happen if I chose the wrong parts. Well, it just marked out the ones that were incorrect, and we unlock it. This is a purpose-made power housing used for crafting electronics that require power. This is a resource and subcomponent. It's not something you build except to allow you to build something else for the most part, or to repair items. And the other idea we have is the crafting bench. Well, looking by this, we have metal, adhesive, and tech. Well, there's only one tech. It's going to need a power supply. Adhesive-wise, it could be glue or it could be duct tape. And metal-wise, we have pipes and metal scrap. And actually, either of those would kind of work, but I'm going to go with pipes since it seems more of a frame than anything else. And again, either of these are kind of fitting. But duct tape is a material that you will get more often early on. So it seems like something you would use to craft, just duct tape this together. It's a crafting bench after all. And sure enough, that's the recipe. Primary crafting apparatus allows crafting of more advanced recipes and creates a safer home space. Now that part is important. When you place down a crafting bench and it is powered, it creates a zone around it where default creature spawns cannot happen. So it disables the ability for creatures to spawn in a radius around them. Now it does not prevent raids, because similar to Grounded, this does have a raid mechanic. However, unlike Grounded, it is not centered on your base. It is centered on you. So if you get the notification that there's going to be a raid, you do not have to race back to your base to protect your base. The raid is going to be centered on you. You could actually set aside a particular place filled with just defensive items that you go to when you are notified a raid is coming and fight the raids there, away from your base. because as I said, the raid will be centered on you. And this is also the means of controlling the spawn rate around areas. If there is a place to throw down a crafting bench and provide power to it, then you can just build extra crafting benches and throw them around and create safe zones. And it is I like to do that, so I tend to carry all the materials I need to create crafting benches with me at pretty much all times when I'm exploring. So as I clear out the spawns from an area, I can just throw down a crafting bench and plug it up, and as long as it has power, that area is considered safe. Now, at night when the sockets shut off, you need a battery to keep things powered, but you don't have to make every crafting bench you make to make areas safe have power. The only ones that really need to be powered are the ones you are near at night. So that would be the ones closest to your base. Because if you leave an area that you've made like a safe path, and then the power is shut off, things aren't going to spawn there and beat up your bases because you're not near that area. And you can avoid the area until the power comes back on, so that when you go back there won't be any creatures spawned anyway. Now, by default, after unlocking these recipes, they are automatically pinned. I will keep them up there. It will affect your inventory. Basically, anything you need for a pinned recipe will have a yellow background as opposed to just this default color. We started in the cafeteria.
I don't think we've met.
No, we haven't. He's got some cloth scrap next to him that unlocked the recipe for a throw net. Throwable net, great for temporarily trapping small creatures, leaving them vulnerable.
What on earth is going on?
The net might even confuse a larger creature for a short while, requires a cloth scrap. Now, right now it has the default background. If I were to pin this recipe, you see it is now highlighted in yellow. And you can click on that again to unpin a recipe.
Ah, you're stuck here too, eh? I came down from level 8 for a coffee. Now I'm locked in here for God knows how long. It'll be those fools on level 3 overreacting again. Looks like Jaeger's locked out. Typical. See if you can let him in. Maybe he knows what's happened. But take your time. He's insufferable.
So we now have a quest to open the cafeteria door, and we have unlocked our first compendium entry. Dr. Ulrich Thule, theoretical physicist, coffee aficionado, committed cynic. Now this door is locked. Cannot be opened from this side, means I will eventually be able to unlock it from the other side and make this a path. Now you see I have the option to kick. Kick does nothing to locked doors. The purpose of kick is if there was a piece of furniture blocking the door, or when I tried to open it, it would bump into the furniture. If the door was already unlocked, a kick will fling it past the furniture. If there's a creature right on the other side, a kick will fling this into the creature. So kick is used to get the door to fully open when it would otherwise be obstructed, but not to break the locks on doors. Now, if you're ever stuck in a quest, like as you can see, I tried to open this door, but I can't get to them to open that door, so I need another way around. Well, I don't see another way around. Look, you can talk to the same NPC, and they'll usually give you a suggestion as to how you're going to go.
If Jaeger thinks I'm crawling through the vents to let him in, he's got another thing coming.
And that will usually be accompanied by a journal note. The vents. Dr. Thule refuses to crawl through the vents to let Dr. Jaeger into the cafeteria. So that's what I should be looking for, are some vents I could crawl through.
They always pick the worst possible time to lock the place down. Kinetics were running a perforation experiment. I know it. Dr. Verenkov is too impatient. And look what's happened.
Perforation experiment involves those instances I mentioned earlier.
If Jaeger thinks
And now
I'm
he's just
crawling through the vents to let him in,
continuing
he's got
to
another
repeat the
thing
dialogues.
coming.
Well, we unlock the recipe for paper scrap. At a powered crafting bench, we can turn 1 wood plank into 12 paper. Now, these are the sinks that will eventually refill if I drain them of water. Of course, there are bathrooms around the place if you need to relieve yourself. And here in the janitor's closet, we have some extra scrap. Now, normally, there is an apron hanging here that is cloth scrap, but it did not appear this time. But we did get the chef's hat. Now, while I said before that you don't need simple loot respawning on, I have noticed that sometimes not everything shows up the first time you visit an area, and sometimes when you return, it will look like loot has respawned, but it is actually more things popping up that actually should have originally loaded. But it just seems a little like a small glitch, in my opinion. Like, instead of getting everything at once, sometimes I have to come back here later and find some of the pieces that should have been there. Now, this chef's hat, hallmark of a true chef, increases your corpse cutting speed. Well, you look like you can cook anyway. Yep, I do look like I can cook now. Now we unlock the recipe for the splint and the idea for the healing syringe, since we interacted with them in this med kit. I'm going to go ahead and stash my bandages here. Actually, I'll keep one on me, possibly. Actually, I'll leave them here for now. Yeah. The healing syringe directly restores lost health over a period of time. It can also revive downed allies, but is not necessary. It's just faster. Does not stop bleeding or cure any other ailments. Heals slowly over a period of time. Hold still, this won't hurt a bit. Splints are used for reducing the effect of certain bone injuries and increasing how quickly they heal. Now if we go to crafting, I can make a splint without a crafting bench. Requires a bandage, wood plank, and duct tape. And the idea for the healing syringe, well, it requires glass, and a test tube would be more fitting than just glass scrap. And it requires 2 biological components. Well, if you recall that email in the first one that talked about they found a fungus that was far more effective than penicillin, antivirus wheat would be your first option. Now, for the other biological, we could either use raw pest or bioscrap. Raw pest would mean we would only be able to make the healing syringe by hunting a particular creature. Bioscrap is a little bit more generic. We'll go with the bioscrap. If we get it wrong, we can always choose the pest. But it was correct. Yeah. Plus, if you mouse over that, it says, a strange wheat from another, even stranger place. Possible healing properties. Calling this grain is stretching the definition. Now, I require a screwdriver to package this first aid kit and move it, but I'll leave it there. Now, it's a good idea to close doors behind you. just in case creatures will spawn in areas. And I do know for a fact in this area that occasionally a pest will spawn in this janitor's closet. And if I left the door open, it could wander around and be in here. And if you ever see things like this blocking the way, that generally means something would spawn in there that they want to keep trapped. So when I get to where I can package things, if I relocate this trash bin, then I have freed up whatever spawns in here to be able to wander out. So we've got a few other things we can interact with. We could package this office plant. It doesn't require a screwdriver. And that unlocks a few recipes based on what it could turn into, which would be plastic. And let's just put it right back. We unlocked the water bottle. Can be filled with water and used in crafting. Requires 1 plastic scrap. And the idea for the storage crate. Well, we unlocked it from plastic scrap, so we can be positive that plastic scrap, not a case fan, will be the plastic. Then for the material wood, we could use either wood planks or desk legs. Either looks kind of fitting, since those do look like desk legs right there. Let's go with desk leg. Nope, it just wants the generic wood plank. Small crate out of wood and plastic found around the office. Requires a powered crafting bench. Yeah, now looking at it, you can see it's not, now that it's colored, you can see it's not entirely a desk leg, but it still could have been. Cannot open the door from this side. We'll be able to get to the other side eventually. See some ammo on the floor, blood smears, so somebody died and was dragged into that room. And the flow transit, apparently the flow pipe has burst. Alright, we got some duct tape and unlocked the landing cushion recipe. A cushion for dampening falls. This will not prevent all ranges of fall damage. And when you first unlock new recipes, it'll show which area they're in, but you can actually look at the different areas. So these are furniture and benches. We have tools, lights and power, base defenses, weapons and ammo, armor and gear, health and medical, food and cooking, farming, and travel and vehicles. And this landing cushion is considered travel. And then you have a favorites category down here. Any recipe, if you click on this star, it will add it to your favorites, and you will know that because these colors will match. And deselecting that star will remove it from your favorites. Now, sometimes things will be on the top of shelves, so you'd have to jump to actually see them or interact with them. These vents we can dismantle into metal scrap. Now, this one is one we cannot pass through, and it overlooks that room, so this is not the way in. This one goes up, though it doesn't look like it goes up very far, and it doesn't look like we could actually crawl through there. So this is just a little dead end that had some duct tape. So that leaves one vent. There's a door there. And that looks like some sort of Actually, it looks like something that should be in Star Labs, because it does not look like a tram. Collect a little bit more scrap. Now, I have noticed, following like quests and things, usually the direction you're supposed to take will have an indication. So in this case, that is the path I should take. This is a side passage, because this one has the light over it. Now that may be coincidence, but it seems to have fit in a lot of places, especially this extension of the tutorial. But let's go up this way. Now this fan will kill you, but if you can see past it, it looks like in this playthrough it didn't spawn. Usually there's a piece of duct tape right on the other side, but yeah, there is another vent past it. So there should be a way to get past this fan. Well, in fact, there is. If you remember, the power shuts off at night. So at night, when the power deactivates, things like this will stop, and you would be able to pass through. So this is, if you find areas like this, remember them and return when the power is off at night. You can sneak past certain enemies, or you can tackle them head on. So if you look right now, even standing stationary, I am gaining sneaking XP because I am in range of a creature and it cannot detect me. I'm also getting a little chilly. Now this is a carbuncle. It is basically more of a trap than a creature. And even if I start attacking it, it's not going to aggro on me while I'm sneaking. But if I choose to stop sneaking, now it tries to kind of trap you in. I can't run any further away. So this thing is a real nuisance if there was other enemies nearby. Because if this thing wasn't dead, I would be trapped into a little bitty area trying to deal with that while this thing is annoying me. And anything with the radiation symbol is putting off radiation, as you can see from the speckles in my vision right now. Now if I get away from it, those speckles will go away. But if I want to carry this loot, I'm going to be getting irradiated as I travel. So this is raw carbuncle, emitting very low radiation, some kind of half-gestated being, and it will cause sickness and vomiting. It is uncooked and only does a hunger of 6 and dangerous radiation when ingested. A lot of body parts of the entities, when you carve them up, will be radiated. Now, once I cook this, it will cease to emit radiation as an item. And the amount of radiation when ingested drops from dangerous usually to very low. So you don't want to carry raw food from antiverse creatures very often. It would be much better to cook them as soon as possible and limit how much you carry at a time, unless you have a good source of radiation curing. Now we just unlocked the compendium data on the carbuncle. IS-0171A, the carbuncle. It is to be isolated by a perimeter cordon with a radius of 12 feet or greater at all times. No personnel may approach within 10 feet unless wearing full face and body wear conforming to GISP 3.2 bioprotective standards at all times. Full decontamination required on all equipment exposed to it. And that's one of two. Someone in the facility may know more about this topic. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean a person I talk to. That can include an audio recording. But it does not include emails. Emails will specifically say you can find more information. There's likely more information about this topic in the GATE email system, for example. Exploring the facility is the best way to find more information about this topic, and then additional information will be in the email system. This one I will learn by talking to someone, and exploring the facility is the best way to find more info. Now, most of the entities also appear under the registry. It is the exact same entry. Collect a few more supplies. And you may want to craft some throw nets for self-defense. While we're here, let's actually turn 5 of our cloth into them. They make 3 apiece. Because throw nets are extremely useful, especially early on when you are first struggling with combat. Like right now when I don't even have a weapon. And let's look at the idea for the carbuncle crown, which is under armor and gear. Now it needs a biological, a plastic, and an adhesive. Well, since we got it from the raw carbuncle, we know that part. As far as plastic, it's either going to be plastic scrap or a case fan. I don't see you having a fan on your head. And the adhesive will be either duct tape or rubber bands. Let's go with duct tape since we found that. A fancy hat cobbled accordingly from the carcass of a contemptible carbuncle. They like their alliteration. You're king of the carbuncles, which doesn't really mean much. Armor 2, weight 3. What the king of the carbuncles bit means, you don't need to sneak to avoid triggering a carbuncle. So this helmet will allow you to wander around and not worry about carbuncles attacking you. And it provides some armor. Now we're getting sneaking, so we know there's a nearby creature. And we can see it right there. Now these little creatures, if I throw a net on it, I can stomp it just like in the tutorial. Eventually it would wriggle free. Now if you stomp a creature like this, while it's trapped in a net at least, you cannot use its carcass for food. It is automatically returned to bioscrap. But these nets are extremely useful for dealing with those things. And once again, lighted path, dark path. Dark path will be the side path, so let's check it out. Get a little more duct tape. We're overlooking the cafeteria with Dr. Thule. And we unlock the compendium data for the pest. IS-0173A. It is to be separated from researchers by barriers, a minimum of 8 feet in height at all times, unless subject is sedated or dead. Acoustic baffling is suggested for all containment environments, and loud noises or use of power equipment is strongly discouraged. Subject is to be fed remotely. More information in the email system. But we do know it is weak against blunt damage. Now, these entries will give you a little bit of hint about their tactics as well as their vulnerabilities. This thing has to have barriers of 8 feet in height, so that means it can jump at least 8 feet. And it is attracted to loud noises and power equipment. We found a toolbox. We now have a screwdriver. And the screwdriver says it is a handy tool for building furniture and a few other things, required for construction and packaging of certain objects. It does list a damage of 3, but it does not earn you experience as either a sharp weapon or a blunt. This is not technically a weapon. It is something you would use in absolute desperation. And the duct tape, used in crafting recipes and can repair items in a pinch. You know exactly what this is. Now, the bioscrap is not to be confused for actual food. It is a heap of biological scrap that might come in handy. None of these others have nice quotes. So, duct tape can be used to repair items' durability. However, it takes a lot of duct tape to repair an item. Right now, we don't have an item with durability. The screwdriver has infinite durability, basically. And duct tape is used a lot in crafting. I prefer not to waste my time repairing items with duct tape. Early in the game, you will find enough weapons you can pretty much swap to a different weapon that still has durability if one breaks. It is better to wait until you get a repair bench. Because, for example, take a knife with a durability of, say, 15 or so. It would probably take about 3 to 4 pieces of duct tape to repair it to full from broken. Whereas at a repair bench, I can repair it from full to broken with 1 piece of metal scrap, which is a lot easier to get than duct tape. Now let's go ahead and package this toolbox and bring it with us. Got a little construction XP. We're getting further along in the cafeteria. Got a second screwdriver. Now most items, like the toolbox and the screwdriver, can still be scrapped. So even in solo player, where you don't really need multiple screwdrivers, there's still a reason to loot them, because they can eventually become scraps you can use. You can dismantle certain objects in order to find more crafting supplies, and it's highlighted all the pipes around here. And just like the vents, we can simply dismantle them. Getting the pressure gauge has unlocked the boom bait and the vacuum. Boom bait is a device that emits a beeping noise to attract enemies, and then a damaging detonation. You craft 3, and of course the pressure gauge is used for crafting things of science. Now, the boom bait actually isn't as useful as I had hoped. If you don't throw it near the creature to begin with, it kind of tends to ignore the beeping noise and it doesn't end up attracting them. Also, if the boom bait does not kill the creature on detonation, even if you are stealthed and like around a corner, the minute you are within range of the creature's normal aggro, it will aggro on you. So any damage done while you're stealthed seems to let a creature know exactly where you are. But we'll go ahead and craft 1 set of these. And then we have the vacuum. Now, since we unlocked that with the pressure gauge, we know that's going to be one of the components. We have biological component, either generic bioscrap or carbuncle. Well, since a carbuncle tries to draw you in, and we have a piece of that. Actually, we have a piece of both. We'll try the carbuncle. And there's either metal pipes or steel cables. Well, we haven't seen steel cables yet, so let's hope it's metal pipes. And we have either the energy brick or the keyboard. Well, it doesn't look like it has a keyboard interface on a vacuum cleaner, but it is going to be a powered item. So let's use the energy brick. Super powerful makeshift vacuum, good for sucking up items and maybe even small critters. This thing sucks. It says damage 0. That's not entirely true. I mean, as far as attacking large creatures, yeah, the damage is 0. But this thing will get rid of a pest in one hit. The pest becomes neutralized. And it will actually destroy breakable items like crates faster than any other weapon will. So this is a very useful tool. And it is what I'm going to use this carbuncle for, because I really like getting my hands on a vacuum pretty early on. But we'll go ahead and dismantle all of these. We got a flashlight down there. This area is kind of dark, and I can see another pest down that way. Let's get our flashlight. And reorganize our inventory just a tad. There's some more pipes. Now that thing's facing us, so we're not likely going to be able to sneak up on it. But let's deal with this thing. Alright, now it's hopping toward me. But it has a pretty nasty jump attack. But we can net it and stomp it, and it's out of the picture. We'll dismantle a few more pipes along here. Extra crafting materials won't hurt. And you can hear the sound of an email computer nearby. And there is an open vent above us. Now we've unlocked the idea for the test tube and the wall torch recipe. So if we go to our recipes, whenever you unlock multiple recipes by interacting with someone, well, first off, we can package this. So it's either going to require the desk lamp itself or something it could be scrapped into. Plastic or glass. Well, since we have already... Let's go ahead and put this back down. Since we have already interacted with something that's plastic, that is most likely going to mean that we're going to need glass in this. And you can also check recipes that were straight unlocked to see what you have access to. So it was we already had the metal pipe. We haven't encountered tech scrap yet, so it was the glass that we unlocked this from. This is a simple, sturdy lamp that can be mounted on walls. Probably won't keep the monsters away, but at least you'll feel cozy. Now, any deployable light source, like this lamp, or these wall lamps we can make, wall torches, will stay powered at night when the rest of the power shuts off. These have their own individual power that never runs out. So this is how you will illuminate areas that are dark, regardless of power level. And my character yawned because he's getting tired. Now back to the recipes. We have the idea for the test tube. Well, this unlocked from glass scrap, so it's going to be glass scrap. Now we need some sort of wood, I guess, to make the cork. Either a desk leg or a generic wooden plank. Either makes about as much sense. Let's just go with a wooden plank. That was it. A glass tube used for experiments, a crucible of science. Now we have a 2 in 3 chance that this will break when we try to package it, so let's just leave it for now. Cooking. Hey, Emma Murrah, I'm looking for a gift for a friend of mine who loves cooking. Any thoughts? They want to be a chef? Give them a knife. Until you chop it up, you can't cook it. And looking at that JPEG, unlock the recipe for the shiv. A hastily made blade for stabbing things. Don't expect it to last. Duct tape and pins. So basically we put a whole bunch of pins together and wrapped duct tape tightly around them and got something we can stab with. Now I find this recipe about useless in solo player because first off there are no pins here. If they'd have put some pins here, this might have made sense since I don't even need a crafting bench to make it. It would give me a makeshift weapon. But they didn't give us any pins. And this next room is a kitchen. If you look right there, there's a knife sitting on that bench. There's a knife right there. So we will have access to actual knives. Unless we choose not to repair them, there's absolutely no need for us to be able to make a shiv. So I think they should have made either the knives a little bit more rare starting out, given us some pins right here to make a shiv, or this recipe is purely for multiplayer where not everybody's going to get their hands on a knife. Okay, he turned toward it. He's not really getting closer to it, so more than likely it's not going to take him out. Yeah, he ignored it. Got a little further away. Yep, that boom bait was completely useless against him. What if we throw it closer to him to begin with? Yeah, see, the problem is it's sliding too far away. Yep, it's distracting him a little bit, but it's not actually doing its job of drawing him toward it to where it kills him. And he just spotted me, so... Oops, I missed. Alright, let's get us an actual weapon. Something's cooking right there. And let's actually start earning some weapon XP. As you saw, he wriggled out before I killed him with the knife. Let's get this cooked pork chop before it burns. Though technically I think that starting pork chop will never burn. But if you do leave cooked food on here too long, it will go from cooked to burnt to bioscrap. But we got a chunk of tasty pork chop meat. We got some more cloth scrap around here. More paper scrap in the trash bin. And there is a dead chef here with an apron. A classic mess-preventing cooking apron. Prevents the buildup of blood and other liquids on the wearer. The quote on this is, "Let's shed some light on the subject," which makes no sense to me. Maybe it's a popular quote from a famous chef, or maybe that quote should be on the flashlight. But when you carve up bodies, let me remove the chef's apron to demonstrate. Right now you see my character. I seem okay right now, but you will quickly get drenched in blood carving up corpses. So if you plan to hunt creatures and harvest their remains, I would highly recommend hanging on to the chef's apron to do that with. Alright, we unlock the plastic shield and the cushion chest piece from the plastic food tray here. Now this parts we got from this pest, a raw pest rump, uncooked rump of a pest, a set of large muscles between far too much cartilage. Well, let's go ahead and fry it up. Now right now I need to pick up the frying pan because for some reason it's glitched like that, the first one. You don't have to pre-place the frying pan on the stove. Let me deploy this toolbox, say, actually let's put it over here. Stick the carbuncle in it. You don't have to have the frying pan already on the stove if you want to cook something. If you have one in your inventory, it'll automatically place it. And we'll let that cook up so that it, and now it's already removed the radiation it was producing. You don't see the speckles anymore. But this, since it has the carbuncle in it, is still irradiated. Let's just drop that right there for now on another plastic tray. And while we wait on this to cook, let's check our recipes. We got the cushion chest plate, cafeteria tray, duct tape, cloth scrap. A big chest plate made from cloth, tape, and stuffing. And we have the plastic shield idea. Well, it requires a cloth, a plastic, and an adhesive. Well, it's pretty much going to be the cushion chest plate on our arm. So we will go with duct tape, cafeteria tray, cloth scrap. Let's remove that first. Now we have a cooked pest rump, crunchy pest rump, very mild radiation when ingested, and the hunger feel has jumped from 12 to 18. Now back to our recipes. Well, we'll go with cloth, cafeteria tray, duct tape. And that was the recipe for the shield. Offhand shield from a plastic tray reinforced with some duct tape. Now, usually I get 2 pieces out of a pest. Sometimes stuff will clip through the wall right now in early access. But I don't see, maybe because of our low skill, there is a chance that we will mess up and just get bioscrap or not get all the parts. Now there's another pest in here in front of some ice cream. Until you pick up the ice cream, it won't decay. But once you pick up that ice cream, it decays extremely fast. And I forgot to show you, you may have noticed it when I did it, I gained almost 100 cooking XP off of that one thing I cooked. Because I'm getting double XP for cooking because of my hobbyist chef. So it's not going to take me too long to reach cooking level 3. one more cooking, maybe 2, and I'll be cooking level 1. And then about 3 to 5 later, I'll be cooking level 2. We've got another first aid kit here. And it has some iodine tablets. Iodine tablets can reduce radiation someone receives, as well as reduce radiation they currently have. So if I get irradiated, I do have some medication here that can fix that. Now this door can't be opened from this side, so we're going to have to go around, and the only way we really have left is this way. But let's go back to that open vent that was in this room. And see if there's a few more materials. Now, I failed to crouch when I was jumping, so I ended up falling. I didn't fit in the entrance, and we ended up picking up a sprained ankle. You've hurt your leg, but not too badly. Now, there was a splint over here. Let's go ahead and use it. Well, apparently, yeah, I can use it. It's not consuming. Remove sprained ankle. Why won't it let me use it? Let's equip the apron. There we go. Your limb is supported and healing, but will take some time. I gained 30 first aid experience. And let's try this again. So you've got to crouch to fit in there mid-jump. Now sometimes there is loot down these side passages, sometimes there is not. We found another toolbox that had oil and Giga Glue in it. Nice. Now, unfortunately, that does not leave me a spot to pick up the toolbox and take it with me, but we can drop something down here. We've got a spare knife. And come back for the toolbox and take it with us. Now while we're up here, let's go ahead and look at the recipes we unlocked. We got the Chopinator. Now that requires a biological. Well, one of the things we picked up was oil, the other was Giga Glue. Since I don't see Giga Glue on here, there are no adhesive. It's got to be the oil that keyed this off. Now it's going to require a tech part, either a power supply or an energy brick. Let's go with the energy brick. And then 2 metal. Well, let's go with the pipes and the metal scrap. A deployable fan with spinning blades, extremely dangerous when powered on. Now that was a base defense. Now under tools, we got the screwdriver from the Giga Glue. Makeshift screwdriver for assembling furniture and other deployable structures, can be used to package like a screwdriver. We also got the idea for the platform cart. And again, it was either Giga Glue or oil that keyed this off, so that's going to need oil. And this is an example of what I was talking about. It's only showing us the 4 items we need. So all we basically have to do is drag these items down here and we got it. Let's It's just an extra step. A useful storage cart for carrying large amounts of goods from one place to another. I'm glad we got the recipe for this quick. This makes the early game a lot easier. And we also got a weapons and ammo recipe, the Pipe Club. So it's going to require an adhesive. Well, the Giga Glue is the only one between the Giga Glue and the oil that was on here. That's our adhesive. And 2 pieces of metal. Well, it's a pipe club. It's going to need pipes. And if we look at the image, that looks like a gauge. Hefty pipe club with a gauge on the end for added weight does 8 damage, but we need the crafting bench to put this together. But we now have access to our first decent weapon. And as you see, he's already respawned. Now you usually can only get about 4 or 5 swings before they break out of the net. Let's place down this toolbox. And right now let's stick up the spare screwdriver, the spare pipes. That'll work. And I forgot to unequip the chef's apron while I was butchering corpses. Yep, that one's back too. Got him and gained a level of sharp melee. He dropped both of the parts, the raw pest and the rump. And since I'm trying to show you how filthy I can get from carving up things, let's go ahead and get this guy. Oh, it's still not really getting filthy.
Need anyone else getting a bit hungry?
Now, we don't want to be getting a lot of radiation while we're doing this, so I'm going to go ahead and take these iodine tablets. Incoming radiation is being reduced by half, and it will give me reduce the radiation I currently have. Let's put up the raw pest so we're not carrying both. Now I'll go ahead and grab the raw pest and go ahead and finish cooking up all this food. I am getting hungry and thirsty. Well, while I've got the radiation going, let's go ahead and eat the pest rump. And the pork chop. And let's grab some water, so we're not thirsty anymore. Just got cooking level 1. Now this is the uncooked head of a pest. Only provides 10 hunger. The cooked version should be 16. And now I'm no longer carrying anything radioactive. Now we are well fed. But we're not copacetic because we are not well hydrated. and we're tired right now. And as you can see, every now and then you'll see that drop down a little bit. Now, the way to compensate for tiredness is to sit down. If I were to sit down on a couch or chair, it would prevent me from losing tiredness and gain some back, but only partially. The way to fully recover from being tired is to sleep. But in a pinch, to avoid dying, you can sit on the floor. You're currently resting, but only enough to stave off exhaustion. So, you see I'm getting a little bit of recovery back. It will only go up to a certain point, and then it will stop. And it goes up very slowly. But I can't fully recover this way. I think I can get less tired. I'm not sure if I can get away from being tired. But right now, time is not progressing. And since time will start progressing when I advance the quest to a certain step, I am going to want to sleep and take care of all of my needs. Did I get the metal scrap? And then, oh, there's the spare knife.
Hello? Over here.
Yep, I'll be right with you. Let me just loot this room. Unlock this door. Now we have a passage there. And we have a pest attracted to a powered device.
Oh, you're new. Looks like that little pest damaged the power system. Can you get someone to fix it? But hurry, would you? I'm not enjoying standing around out here. It was hours last time, and I don't feel safe at all.
Now, despite the fact that I'm earning sneaking experience, I don't think this guy really aggroes on me. He's too focused on that until I attack him. Now, let's actually take off the hat, too, so I can show you how many more swings it takes. It really didn't take that much more. We'll go ahead and see what we can do about fixing this. Requires an energy brick. So we need to make an energy brick to be able to open that door.
They always pick the worst possible time to lock the place down.
And let's go ahead and get a little more hydrated. Alright, there are pests in there. There's nobody else around.
Well, if you're the only help available, you should set up somewhere and sort this out.
Crafting bench. Dr. Yeager thinks I may need to set up somewhere to get to work if I want to fix the door for him.
Fixing the power system can't be that difficult. It's not quantum physics. Look, just find a way to let me in.
Let's check in here. Got some duct tape, tech scrap, paper scrap, another lamp, spare flashlight. Now these chairs, I'm currently resting slowly and only partially. It's still faster than when I was sitting on the ground, as you see. But it'll only get me so much before it stops. Now, but these chairs, while you're sitting in them, you can roll around. Back to what I was talking about, simple loot respawning. There is a stage here where simple loot respawning is considered active. Until I progress this quest by replacing an energy brick in there, these duct tape and these components will respawn. The tech scrap and the computers. Now these TVs usually have a single program. They will loop.
Here at the Gate Cascade Research Facility, safety and security demand we take our primary power network offline at night. All major power outlets are shut down, as well as most pathway lighting. However, if your research or study requires a source of energy during nocturnal hours, protocols permit the use of approved battery and electrical storage systems to power your projects when the lights go out. If you do plan on working late, please request a night pass from your supervisor. The facility is dark at night, and your safety depends on it. Now rest up. Every day is a new opportunity for science.
And it's just going to repeat. So we'll shut that off, unlock this door, and I left some food over here. It is now burnt. Now it's on fire. It's just bioscrap. But from burnt food, the bioscrap from burnt food does not stack with bioscrap from cutting corpses, because this is cooked bioscrap. So it's slightly different and doesn't stack. Now let's deal with that damn pest. Gotcha. So let's just use this trash can for storage right now. That's spare bioscrap and the spare knife. Let's get the net we somehow flung. Collect our tech scrap and carve this guy up. Apparently we got nothing out of him. Missed him. As you can see, I am now absolutely filthy. I could get sick more easily. If we go to my inventory, you can start seeing the blood on me. So I'm going to re-equip my chef gear. And when we go in here, I'm going to use this to wash myself. Now, I don't normally recommend using drinkable water to wash yourself. You can find non-potable water around tainted water. You can wash yourself just fine in tainted water, but for this purpose, I'm going to go ahead and use the drinkable water. Now, cooking level 2. Now let's grab this desk leg. A leg from a desk. Damage 6 weapon, whereas the knife was damage 3. Blade used in cooking that can chop up remains was good quality. You see its durability 20. It's down to 7. Let's go ahead and repair it once with duct tape. It gained 5 durability. So it would take 4 pieces of duct tape to restore this thing's full durability. Now the desk leg only has 8 durability, so it'll only take a couple And there is the duct tape starting to respawn. The tech scrap just respawned. There's another tech scrap over here. Let's go ahead and broken. Feel free to use as spare parts. And the computers break into case fans, circuit boards, and power supplies. Now we need to stash some stuff because we're carrying way too much crap. Let's put up the bioscrap, the paper. We'll keep the pressure gauge. And let's get the single pipe out of our inventory. Now we have everything we need for the energy brick and the crafting bench. Now let's go in here and set up our crafting bench right here. So we will create a crafting bench. Deploy it. And use our screwdriver to assemble it. Now that this crafting bench is here, you see we are in a safe place, relatively speaking. The pests that were appearing in here will no longer respawn. So since this is the only place I can cook, I have now made the kitchen safe. With these security blinds, the only way things can come in here is if they happen to appear back here, which is unlikely, but more likely, they will have to come in through the security office all the way through here. So we have secured this area. Now another good place for a crafting bench is right there to keep the bathroom clear. But since I have the kitchen closed off, letting them spawn in the bathroom gives me a place to hunt for food. But let's go ahead and make an energy brick. And interacting with a workbench unlocks a handful more recipes. 5. So we've got the makeshift barricade, small barricade made of whatever was lying around, paper scrap and wood planks. We have the idea for the battery. Now the battery is going to need an energy brick and then either a keyboard or a coil. Keyboard really doesn't make sense on a battery. And then either metal pipes or metal scrap. Well, it could be metal pipes. Nope, it's metal scrap. Small battery that can store incoming electricity and provide that electricity when none is available. This is how you power stuff when the power goes down. You charge up a battery during the day and it should last through the night, only powering one device. Sometimes it may cut out about 10 to 20 minutes before the power comes back on. We also got the recipe for turning paper into cloth, for making duct tape using Giga Glue, cloth, and inethyl, a strong chemical. We'd gotten the frying pan recipe when we picked up the desk leg, used for frying up food. We already have 2, no reason to make more right now. We got the recipe for the makeshift backpack. Well, that's going to be cloth, and looks like those are definitely pipes. Let's make one of those now. So this is our pocket slots. Well, we're currently using pockets, but we have a backpack slot. This is a very small backpack made from cloth scraps. It will improve our capacity to 15. Well, we can currently hold 12, so that's just 3 more slots. But it also reduced weight by 10%. We also got the recipe for the repair and salvage station. Now it's going to be fairly similar to the crafting bench, probably power supply, duct tape, metal pipe. Well, power supply is not an option. Let's go with the energy brick. It's going to be pipes and duct tape, and we can see an anvil on the image, so that's the other metal. Nope, it wasn't the battery. I mean, the power supply. It was the coils. Allows repairing and salvaging of items. So we're going to want to make one of these as soon as possible. Now, anything else we want to make? Well, we could use a breastplate and a shield.
Could use a short nap.
Now, we don't have any plastic yet. I'd like to get my hands on plastic to make the cart, so we need 4 plastic. Now, we do need to make an energy brick so that we can make our vacuum. Now, he's not going to like this because we used up our materials to make an energy brick. We can't make another right now, but we now have the vacuum. Now let's reorganize our inventory a bit. Go to recipes and unpin the crafting bench. Now he had already spawned, so he's still there. And let's use these containers to stash some stuff. Now I do want to keep the materials to make a workbench on me, which is duct tape and pipes. It's always a good idea to carry duct tape until you get a repair station anyway. And power supplies will be the other one. We also found some salt. You don't need to pick it up. If it was in a container, opening the container will unlock any recipes based on it. But this is a bunch of sodium usable in crafting. Oh, we do have a piece of plastic. We need 3 more. And then, of course, this stuff has respawned.
Hurry!
I guess he really wants me to make the item. Alright, this is about to break, but I'm going to show you just how... You saw how many swings it took me to break it with the desk leg before. This is how effective the vacuum is. Not only did it break it quick, it picked up everything as it was breaking. I think you can also use it on furniture, but it doesn't do damage to the furniture fast enough. You're better off just actually trying to package it or beating it down. But now that we have a workbench, let me go back and get all of these items I have around. Alright, that toolbox is empty. Let's actually pick up the toolboxes. I guess we can leave the toolboxes over here to hold radioactives away from us. Let's stash this spare stuff. I have a spare screwdriver. And we want to grab 1 gigaglue and 1 gauge, and let's actually put up the desk leg, because we're going to go make a pipe club. There we go. We now have a pipe club. Oh, and we also should equip our shield and our cushion chest plate, so we have some actual armor on. And let's make another energy brick. Store the materials we're not going to be using right now. Unpin the recipe for the brick. Let's just unpin them all. And before this stuff respawns much
you need to
more,
open the door,
because I don't want to
now.
just sit here and farm these things, we're going to progress the story. As soon as I put this brick
Just
in here,
get it open.
those things will not respawn anymore. Now I'll get about 4 swings before he breaks that net. And he's dead. Let's put our apron back on so we don't get bloody. I think I broke a piece. So we have the drumstick and the peccary chop. And the peccary skull, which unlocked a recipe for the helmet. Now let's go ahead and...
Oh my god, what happened to Jaeger? He didn't deserve that. I mean, not really. I'm going to wait here. It's not safe out there.
Now we're getting extremely tired. These stuff will no longer respawn. Let's go ahead and cook up this food. We have the uncooked leg of an alien life form, 22 hunger fill, still has a bit of hoof in it, and an uncooked chunk of peccary meat, only 10 hunger fill. We also got the skull of a slain peccary, obtained from IAS 0178. And it unlocked the recipe for the peccary helmet. So we know the skull is going to be the biological. I don't see us putting rubber bands on that damn thing, so let's go with the glue. And paper scrap is the only cloth material. We have options for plastic, but no plastic option down here. A helmet made from a cantankerous creature, 3 armor, 5 weight. So let's get a gig of glue and 12 paper scrap and put this together so it won't be radioactive anymore. Now the cooked alien drumstick does 29 hunger, very mild radiation. And the peccary helmet is armor 3, so we can go ahead and swap out our chef's hat as well. So now we have an armor of 5, and we're carrying around what we need to butcher corpses when we want to hunt for food. We have the materials to make one more crafting bench. We do need to grab some cloth and make some more throw nets, because like I said, they're pretty useful early on. Because you saw even that peccary, we were able to fight with relatively no damage. So this cooked peccary chop gives 15 hunger fill, which is actually less than the cooked pest. Now another thing to demonstrate with how effective this is, I probably should have done before we fought the peccary. It instantly gets rid of a pest. And my next action can launch the pest at something. Now, I won't be able to recover even bioscrap from the pest, but if I'd have grabbed this ahead of time, I could have done some damage to the peccary by launching the pest at it. And now, time is still not progressing. So we've got time to sleep. And we do have a little sleeping mini game that speeds up the process of getting recovering our stamina, basically. And we are fully recovered. We can continue sleeping to allow time to pass faster. Right now, time is not passing. That's pointless. So now we can proceed to the next area. And we got the compendium entry for the peccary. And as you see, time is still not progressing. 0178. Any containment space must measure no more than 3 by 3 meters square, ensuring the subject is unable to attain a velocity greater than 5 meters per second. You saw it could do a charge attack when I got too far from it. All walls and flooring should be reinforced to GISP 3.2 standards for blast shielding and be electrically grounded to 2 megavolts. Subject must be contained separately and fed remotely. So it does have kind of an electrical and explosive effect for its charge. Someone in the facility knows more about it. This is also weak to blunt.
Attention. Enhanced security protocols are now in effect. Please locate security personnel and follow evacuation procedures.
The minute the AM disappeared, time started progressing.
Hey, do I know you? Look, I don't know what's going on. They don't tell me squat on a good day, and this isn't a good day. But if the big voice says get out, I'd do what she says. Elevators are dead, so head for the main tunnel in manufacturing on level 2. There's maps over there. But me, I'm staying right here.
Warren Bunning, security officer. Sydney Sider turned subterranean security specialist.
Reckon I'm leaving here? I don't think so. Radio's dead, half the doors are buggered, and now there's these little hoppy things everywhere. You're on your own. Saw a bunch of eggheads heading to the silos on level 3 earlier. Tried to tell them about manufacturing, but they weren't having a bar of it.
Evacuate via manufacturing. The Plaza security guard, Warren, says we have to evacuate via the main tunnel in the manufacturing sector on level 2.
Unless you're going to move on, you're going to end up as Tucker for some frilly pig-leg drongo from God knows where. Not a good look. You're smarter than that. Or you should be. I've seen those science team paychecks. Facility's looking pretty rough, and you're hanging around like a bad smell. I'd be looking at pushing through to manufacturing if I were you, but I'm not. So, that's on you. Still stuck here, huh? How about those life choices? Anyway, it's time you got on your bike, I reckon. Smart sort like you. Science your way out of here.
So he's got a nice setup here with all that canned peas and drink, nachos. So these are charging stations. Place a rechargeable item here to restore its battery. Charging stations available at all hours. They do not lose power. Now, this displays its current level, and you'll see it'll charge up pretty quickly. I'll probably charge my flashlight after this. But it doesn't take too awfully long to recharge. However, using the vacuum frequently drains its battery pretty fast. And you'll find maps like this in a lot of the areas. So there's the cafeteria we started in with the kitchen, security room, bathrooms, that locked room we haven't been able to get into, and the room we dropped down into from the vents. We're here next to the charging station and the security kiosk. There's a tram to the south, manufacturing east and manufacturing west, and we will be heading to manufacturing west through level 2. Let's check the and you can usually grab maps from here that will add them to your journal entry so you can look at them at your leisure. This damn facility. The power sockets are on a timer. I was working on mass dampeners and the place just shut down. You know those have to warm up for hours? Now I have to start all over again. Just keep an eye on your wristwatch. Don't start a task you can't finish before the facility power goes out. Why the hell were you working at midnight anyway? Get some rest. We can't afford to make mistakes. Powerless. The facility's power and lights turn off at night. I'm going to need to find a way to deal with that. Now this tainted water, you don't want to drink it, but there has been no ill effect I have seen from using it to clean yourself up. GASS security bot designed to protect gate facilities from internal threats. The Gate Automated Security Sentience, GAS, program was initiated in 1985 after the infamous Tory facility decompression event. The aim of the project remains to create fully sentient artificial intelligence, but at present the robots are best suited to patrol operations in low security sectors and keeping the vending machines well stocked. This entity is less affected by blunt damage. So as good as this pipe club is, if I have to deal with a security robot, it is not going to be very effective. Now they are dormant during the day. They usually only come out at night. However, if you feel like fighting one during the day, you can beat the health of the recharging pod down. When you get the health of the recharging pod completely gone, it will become active and you can attack it. Now the robots will tend to attack your crafting stations and stuff if they can get to them. So if I were to place a workbench here at night when he wakes up, he would probably beat the hell out of it as he's patrolling this area. They don't tend to handle stairs too well, though. And we have a water cooler here. Let's go ahead and package it up and take it with us. Now I'm gaining strength XP while I move around. Actually, let's leave it in here. Now, there's also a coffee machine here. That would help us get our tiredness taken care of if we didn't want to sleep. And let's go ahead and package up these desks. We broke that one into wood planks and a desk leg. Now we are getting construction XP from attempting to package these. Got some cloth and metal from that. We'll go ahead and get this. Where'd the metal go? I saw it fling upward. There, it bounced. Let's go ahead and package this lamp. Alright, we're going to need to stash some stuff. You can hit Q to deposit stuff that you already have in a container. Alright, let's get the plastic out. The oil. And the cloth. Now, since this area is kind of dark, let's move this desk lamp over here so we have some light near our crafting station. And let's go ahead and make about 9 more throw nets so that we have them if we need them. And we can proceed to explore. Now you see that this food is already about half decayed. It's only been about a day since I cooked it, so the food unrefrigerated will only last a day or so. Oh, and we have a hammer here. A sturdy hammer can be used to repair constructed objects and furniture. You can also... we don't need 2 things of food up here. Use it to destroy furniture. Now, attempting to package furniture, whether you succeed or fail, grants you construction XP. Beating up furniture doesn't really get you anything. Now, once you get a repair bench, salvaging items will give you crafting XP. However, using the hammer to destroy furniture does not give you any XP, but it does give you like the maximum amount of resources you can get out of it. Now, I tend to prefer trying to disassemble furniture early on to get the materials I need. And if I successfully disassemble it, I can either hang on to it until I get the the repair and salvage station, or I can deploy it back down and use the hammer to destroy it. Right now, since I need a lot of plastic and these things are providing plastic, I would rather do without the XP and just get the materials. There's going to be plenty of things that will give me XP later on. So we've got a handful of plastic now. I can make that cart.
Getting thirsty.
There, now we're well hydrated. We could stand eating, so let's eat some of this food. Now we're copacetic again. And we got the recipe for the makeshift bed by lying in interacting with a couch. It's a simple bed that's comfier than a couch, but not much more than that. Can be used as a respawn point. Requires a packaged couch. Now, only one player in a server can use a particular bed as a respawn point, so you would need a separate bed for every player. And since this requires a packaged couch, and I currently only have one couch to sleep on, I'm going to wait till I find other couches before I attempt to package one to make a bed. But let's go ahead and craft our cart. And let's craft, we need more wood planks, but we can craft a couple of storage crates. We can also craft a water bottle. And if we get 3 more wood planks...
I should probably locate a restroom.
We can make a couple of storage crates. And now that we have storage crates, we can deploy these near our crafting station so we can store our materials. Now, until I construct this, I can't really stack anything on top of it. I'd have to put it beside it. But if I go ahead and assemble this, now I can stack the next one on top of it. And now we can consolidate all of our materials here. And this has another effect, that this container prevents items inside of it from leaking as much radiation around the container. It actually has some radioactive shielding compared to these toolboxes that do not. Let's go ahead and package up these toolboxes. And we'll use the bottom container for furniture we're going to hang on to until we can salvage it. And we can collect our items and bring them all to a central location. Now, one thing I forgot to demonstrate, I think when I had the hammer out, like I said, you can't use right-click actions to destroy furniture while you have the shield out. However, you can hit H to holster an item, and it will usually holster the shield first, so that you could then use the right-click action if I wanted to break this trash bin. And holstering again will put
This may get awkward.
my other weapon up. You need to find a toilet. Toilet time. Yeah, I'll find a toilet as soon as I have finished moving the last stuff to my storage facilities. Alright, let's head to the bathroom before we get in serious trouble. And do our little pooping mini game. There we go. Taking care of that situation. Now for this water bottle, I could fill it up from this, but a better use is actually to find sinks to fill it up from, and whenever you're back here, you can use it to refill your water cooler. And that way you can be collecting fresh water from sinks elsewhere, such as this one, because the sinks will replenish. This does not. I would have to manually replenish it. Now this cart, platform cart, useful storage cart for carrying large amounts of goods from one place to another. You can deploy it, interact with it, and stick things on it. And it has a little bit more capacity than I do. And after you load it up with materials, you can drive it. And while you are steering this vehicle, you are considered to be resting slowly as if you were sitting down, because you are using it to hold a good portion of your weight. So getting one of these early on makes the looting process a lot easier, because you are able to bring a lot more loot back per trip to your base when you go out exploring. Now, I do recommend proceeding onward with the quest as you can, but you can proceed at your own pace. We need to head to level 2 and evacuate via manufacturing. As we do, we will unlock more materials, more recipes, more areas to search. The office sector, administration and management. The office sector is Gate Cascade Facility's main center of administration and comprises 12 levels, as well as several repurposed silos. Once used for storing gas, water, and ore, these immense spaces now house key perforation research systems. There's a couple of pests over here. Killed him by kicking open the door. Let me swap my screwdriver and the nets so that I can get to the nets a little quicker. Gotcha. Alright, let's go ahead and... There's only some paper scrap in this room. I swear, every time I recreate this world, I get less loot. I'll probably find more pieces as I wander past. There's usually binders and pins on here as well, some of the times I come back through this area, they may finally be back here.
Dr. Derek Mance reporting. Research Director, Gate Cascade Research Facility. Originating in Antiverse 2, IS-171 is a stationary, sessile entity that traps its food with a retractable tentacle. The experience of being caught is rather like being attacked by an angry pizza. It presents no real threat, but leaves an enduring, not entirely unpleasant smell on anything it touches. Suggestions for possible applications include perfume, industrial scents, and olfactory-based crowd control weapons.
So that would be the second entry for the carbuncle. Although highly aggressive, the creature is more of an encumbrance than a threat to larger prey. And we unlock the recipe for the makeshift chest plate. Armor 4 gives a set bonus as you get more of the makeshift armor, where you've often carried the weight of your team, increases your weight capacity by 30, requires a packaged filing cabinet. Well, these filing cabinets have a 90% chance to break. And we found some money. It'll go straight to our wallet in that one. Now this is another spot where I could set up a crafting bench to prevent these guys from respawning, and I generally like to do that, so let's go ahead and make one. Let's set it up here. Now that it is powered, while it has power during the day, they can't spawn in this area, so I don't have to worry about, as I pass back and forth through this area, them respawning. And this safety also extends to the intersection, where sometimes I have found peccary or even carbuncles. Let's go ahead and carve these guys up. We'll put on our chef's gear. Just got a bio scrap out of that one.
This sector will be powered down momentarily. If you have not already evacuated the facility, consider this your top priority.
Alright, let's head back. That comes at a 1 hour warning that power is going to shut off. Let's stash our food, our raw meat in this one. We'll cook it in a minute, because I don't believe that loses power at night. That is not a powered stove. I think it is a gas stove. But since the power is about to shut off, we want to head back to that fan we saw earlier. Now at night, the heat also shuts off, so you will get cold. So I believe your stats deplete a little faster. We're getting chilly right now anyway because of the fan. The power shuts off at 9 o'clock. And now we can safely pass through here. But we're getting cold extremely fast. There's that ammo. We'll go ahead and carve him up. Oh, we're still wearing our chef's gear anyway. Now we can unlock this door and come back when the power is on. Let's head back to the safety of our bed and sleep through the night. And now that the power is off, this area is no longer safe. They can respawn in here, but I'm going to stash this food before I sleep.
All vacant perforations will be resetting in 3, 2, 1.
So
Reset complete.
any portal worlds that I had visited before would now have all the materials back. And now you can see time is fast forwarding. Even though I'm fully restored, I could wake up now. If I want to wait until the power comes back on, time progresses a little bit faster while you're sleeping. And that sound means the power has returned. Now, none of the pests here respawn. I spoke too soon. I just gained a level in blunt. I got a little bit more food to cook up. Let me collect all the nets I missed with. And before we proceed onward with the main quest, let's go back to that door I unlocked. Alright, this room is still safe. We got some pipes. And we have this nice little room back here with a bunch of cabinets full of loot and one particular piece that we need to make the repair station, an anvil back here in the storage rooms. So this is an early anvil you can access. One of the earliest ways to get an anvil. Now we still can't make a repair station without coils, and we will not get coils here, likely. Because this does not have a coil. Let's go ahead and deploy our cart and stash most of our loot in it so we can loot this room. Yeah, that did have a power supply unit. Alright, we're getting full again. I'm going to keep the anvil and stuff on me that's heavy so that I can gain some strength XP while I'm wandering around through here, grabbing the rest of the loot. We've got 4 filing cabinets in here we can attempt to pick up. go ahead and package this one and this one. Where did the metal fling to? I heard it drop. Did it go through the wall? No, I don't see it in here. I don't know where the metal for that one disappeared to. Maybe I just failed so badly, or it fell through the world. Sometimes that happens. Usually the stuff will ricochet and try and stay in, but again, it is early access. We also have this little side room here. With another toolbox with a hammer. Now this area back here makes an even better base than the security area. It is a little bit further away. Now it says I am gaining strength XP at least. I haven't exceeded my max encumbrance. But there's only one way in. And I can place a crafting bench. Let me go ahead and stash a few things. I do have all the materials to make a crafting bench, so let's make another one. And let's place it right here. Now that it is powered up, this area is safe. Nothing should spawn in this room either. And it might even reach into the women's bathroom. Let's see. Nope. I'm still going to need one here to shut down the women's bathroom. But this makes a good area for a base. Now, let's look at the bench upgrades. I don't have the materials I need to do the upgrades just yet. I don't have antiverse wheat or XOR hearts. The first one I will be able to get will most likely be the heater and box of screws, which will make this supplement as a heater. But you can also make it heal you while you are near it. And it is a good idea to have a crafting bench close to your bed that has the healer and the warmer so that it keeps you very comfortable during the night and heals you up. But the item transporter allows you to access nearby containers from the crafting bench without having to have the stuff in your inventory to build from. And once you get it set up on this one, with this placed here, it will reach containers you put in here all the way up to the ones right here. It will not reach the two you can put right here. So you'll just have two. It'll reach all of these and all of those. It just will not reach this far corner. Now if you build the bench here instead, it won't reach the two you can put on here. But I like putting it here because this area is a good spot to put the bed. And when I put a dioxa healer and a bench warmer on here, they will reach me while I am here sleeping. But yeah, this makes a very good base location. Yeah, it's far away from a lot of things, but this is a game about portals. Later on, you will be able to create shortcuts through teleporters. So this is a good storage room for crafting. Oh, did I get everything? No, there's still some cloth. So yeah, you have plenty of room for storage. You have an extra plug over here, so you could set up a kitchen. Let's go ahead and break down this chair. Now I am over encumbered to the point where I'm not gaining strength experience. And let's break this one down. No desk leg. So I can make a handful more containers when I can. I can use this cart to transfer all the stuff from my existing containers in here and move the containers in here and basically set up my area here. Though I still need to go all the way to there to cook right now. As I go progressing the story, I will eventually be able to make a stove to work here. But this is a good stopping point for now. I hope you enjoy this game, because Deep Field Entertainment has made a pretty entertaining little game. The story is great. The game doesn't take itself too seriously, but you can still take the game very seriously. It has a lot of depth to it, and it is a very fun game. It's made some nice diversions for me, so I hope you all enjoy it. If you'd like to see a playthrough on this, I'll see what I can do. Right now I'm focused on Stellaris. It just trying to trudge through my current Stellaris playthrough when I first get home from work is not conducive to staying awake long enough. And I would like to get back to actual Grounded and some of the other games I was playing on my channel when I get more free time. But thank you all for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time.